Yes, the Ulster captain out tonight because of a bicep injury. Johan, tell us how things are coming along. When should we expect to see you back in action?
Yeah, Nick, it's not too bad. It's reacted really well to treatment, and the physio and the medical team has done some great work over the last couple of days. So we touch and go for next week, maybe. It's probably a long shot, but definitely be back for Cardiff. But like I said, there's a small chance for next week.
I'm sure you're fed up watching from the stands at this stage. It's been one of those seasons.
I tell you what, it's been incredibly tough, and it's been very frustrating. But look, it's life and that's rugby, unfortunately. And I'm one thing I'm sure of: it can't get worse. It can only get better. So we're hoping that the better times is not too far off.
What has the message been to the players this week on the back of the defeat to Saracens?
Yeah, look, we had a couple of days off after Saracens, Monday, Tuesday off, just to clear the minds a bit and make sure that we focus on the job ahead. There's only one focus right now, and that's a Pro 12, and obviously starts tonight. So it's important that that we forget about Saracens as quick as possible, and hopefully the boys can put a really good performance out on the field tonight.
Johan, thanks very much.
Thank you. Cheers.
Well, that's a dressing room that'll miss Johan Miller, but they'll have to look to the likes of Rory Best, Tommy Bowe tonight.
Yeah, Tom Court, Rory Best, Ruan Pinar, and again, obviously, Tommy Bowe does his influence on the pitch, by the way, and the style that he does play.
Yeah, this is as we've alluded to in that last bit with Johan, is they've got to move on. There's no point crying over spilled milk now. This is a new, back to the competition, back to the feet on the ground. We start a new competition now almost, and they've got to come out firing, because if they don't, if they keep dragging their tails, they're going to go home losing tonight.
Well, the players are ready. It's time to join our commentary team. It's good evening to former Ulster and Australia centre Ryan Constable, and first, Jim Neely.
Well, good evening, Gavin. It's a perfect night for rugby here. There was a nasty little bit of rain this morning, but the pitch is in absolutely wonderful condition, and it's hard to believe that 6 weeks have elapsed since Ulster last played a home game on Ravenhill. And there's a man who'll be the focus of attention, I'm sure, for the Lions coach Warren Gatland and the men who will help him pick the side, Dan Lydiot. Nice to see a little bit of sun here at Ravenhill. I hope it's not going to come into our eyes. Well, Andrew Coombs, who's the latest Dragon to play for Wales, is leading the Dragons this evening. And he's in the second row with the vastly experienced Rob Satoli. And what a very tasty back row with the man we mentioned there, Dan Lydiot, and a man who's probably booked his place on the plane to Australia, Toby Faletau at number 8. 3 internationals behind the scrums. Dan Evans at outside half, Will Harries on the right wing, and fullback Tom Priddy, the youngest person ever to play international rugby for Wales. Well, a very purposeful looking Rory Best, who's captaining Ulster for the first time in 2 seasons. The very last game of the 2010-2011 season was the last time that Rory Best led an Ulster side that really needs to rediscover its belief, because while European rugby has gone for another season, the Pro 12 is something that Ulster can take great pride in. They led the competition for such a long time. They're in 2nd position, and tonight playing the side that's in 11th position, and nothing less than a win will suffice for Rory Best and his Ulster side. So there's Rory Best leading the Ulster side. A number of changes. Ricky Lupton in the front row for John Afoa. Ian Henderson has moved up into the second row to partner Dan Toohey. Robbie Dyack's recalled to the back row, and Mike McComey starts at open side. Paul Marshall and Ruan Pinar combined at halfback. For the 4th time this season, Stuart Olding starts at inside centre for Luke Marshall, and Peter Nelson starts at fullback with Tommy Bowe on the wing. We're having a minute's silence for the late John Murray, the president of the Ulster branch of the RFU in 1997 to 1998, who died last week. So commiserations with and condolences to the family of the late John Murray, a great rugby man, a great member of the CIYMS club from the east of Belfast, who passed away last week. Ryan Constable, well, there's the referee, Leighton Hodges, who's the man who was on the touchline last week at Twickenham, and will be remembered by Ulster, I think, supporters, for the man who did not see the Saracens' hand that produced the line out that probably lost Ulster the game. But we'll dismiss that at the moment. Ryan Constable.
Yeah, interesting to see Ulster in this first 10-20 minutes, how they've coped mentally with that disappointment of the quarter-final exit.
Well, Dan Evans, who moved to the Dragons from the Scarlets, plays most of his rugby in the outside half position. Here's Paul Marshall. Be delighted to get a start yet again, and that's not the start he would have wanted, and that's gone straight into touch. So that's a little lapse of concentration, which also really don't need. That's been all too often, I think, Ryan, the story of this season.
Well, it was certainly the story of last week, but they've had Monday, Tuesday off, some active recovery, reported in for training Wednesday. Their focus will be very much on what's ahead, not what lies behind them, and that's 3 matches to secure a home semi-final and preferably #1 spot on this league to get the choice of venue for the final.
Sam Parry throwing the ball in for the Dragons. Little clever move in the middle of the park. Big challenge there by the outside centre, Pat Leach. Referee's calling the ball out. That's aggressive rucking by the Dragons, and has forced a penalty. And it all came from the ball being delivered straight into touch by Ulster. So a couple of errors, and Ulster could find themselves 3 points adrift. And we've still only played a minute.
A positive start from the Dragons. Important they get on the front foot early in this game. Ulster at Ravenhill's a daunting prospect. You need points early to quell the crowd, and certainly they've done a good job of that in the first minute or two.
Yeah, there was a little sort of funny feeling just running around Ravenhill. The crowd maybe not just so vociferous coming along here, needless to say, to support this Ulster side, and they've turned out on the most gorgeous of sunny spring evenings, but it hasn't been the most gorgeous of starts for Ulster. And this has given Tom Priddy, only 21 years of age, made his international debut for Wales when he was just 18 and no more. Straight in front of the Ulster post. Well, would you believe it? He has missed that one from straight in front of the Ulster post. Well, Ulster really will be counting themselves lucky, Ryan, to have got off the hook there.
Yeah, given these conditions, you'd expect some pretty healthy success ratios from the ground, and Ulster now having to go from deep. They would have learned some lessons from last week in terms of territory, playing in the right parts of the pitch, chasing game, and that urgency in defence we saw from Saracens.
Pretty takes Ruan Pinar's restart kick, and here's Falatau. Likes to run, hugely deceptive. He's not the biggest #8 in world rugby, but as they say in New Zealand, he runs big. Nice bit of transfer there. Dan Evans runs a good angle, and Ulster shepherd him into touch for the first line out.
Yeah, excellent defence from Darren Cave, renowned for his ability to organise that defensive system. A lot of it falls on his shoulder at 13. You're reliant a lot on the communication from inside, and you really dictate the pace, just drifting nicely across there, smother tackle into touch.
Tommy Bowe doing the right thing, just staying out a little bit on the wide side. Left a gap, but the gap was quickly covered by Darren Cave. Ulster have taken Mike McComish and Nick Williams out of their line out. Well, that's a good take. Dragons have gone to ground. Back to Marshall. Needs to keep this one in, and he does. That's a much, much better kick. Tommy Bowe really challenging. And up he comes, and McComish was there quickly. And Nick Williams made some pretty decent meters as well. But the Dragons have counter-rucked nicely. Pretty in the outside half position. Evans at inside centre. Peter Nelson, good to see him recovered from injury.
White, keep coming, 13.
Oh, and that's not a bad kick at all by Peter Nelson. Deputising for Jared Payne, who's been given the week off.
Yeah, excellent start, confidence building stuff, saw the space in behind. Always his first option is to run. Excellent counter-attack, a real pace in that back three, but on this occasion taking the conservative option and very well executed.
Bounce was very kind, but the kick was pretty useful. Dragons have shortened the line out. There's Dan Toohey. Straightforward take of the line out by the Dragons skipper Andrew Coombs. And the men from Newport are making some pretty decent ground. Ricky Lutton detaches and then comes back round again. Well, it's stopped now. I think they may well have to play it. No, they get a secondary trundle. Put up in the air by Jonathan Evans. Gilroy knocked it forward. Chance now for the Dragons. This is the teenager Jack Dixon. Big Philip, 6'3" and about 16 stones. Evans saw that the way was cut off by Darren Cave and he had to run into Pienaar, but he's made it available. Here's Falatau. Just slips inside Pienaar and sets it up on halfway. Lydiot. A year ago would have been a straight certainty for the Lions tour. He still might make it. Good tackle by Stuart Olding on Pat Leach. Dragons doing really well at the breakdown. They're winning those collisions. Tight head prop Nathan Buck. Then goes Sidoli. Falatau. Nice little offload to his loose head prop Aaron Kindly. Now this could be interesting. There's a hint of an overlap here. Tommy Bowe drifts wide and puts in a good tackle. In terms of possession, it's been all Dragons so far. Taken on once again by Coombs, who has such a good Six Nations. Nathan Buck is an enormous fellow. This is good work once again by the Dragons. Dan Evans, well caught by Ulster's flankers, McComish and Dyack, but back on the Dragons side. Lydiot gets it away. This is very good. There's a chance now here if Coombs can shift this. He's changed his mind and he's got plenty of gas. Stepped inside a couple of covering Ulster forward. Still there for the Dragons. Robbie Dyack came through, but he was onside. Sidoli sweeps it away. Evans, Falatau. Well, the Dragons playing with great panache.
Use it!
Referee calling for the ball to be used. Sidoli. Capped 42 times for Wales, and he managed to knock it forward under a bit of pressure there from Mike McComish and Dan Toohey.
Yeah, excellent passage of play from the Dragons, going through multiple phases, delivering good quality possession as well. So we see the knock-on that's led to the pressure relieving scrum with an Ulster feed. Good tackle by Olding there, textbook stuff around the legs, player straight to ground. But Dragons again showing their ability at the breakdown to recycle, get quality possession, and made about 20 metres in that 4-0.
Well, Stuart Olding certainly impressed when he came off the bench at Twickenham last week for the injured Luke Marshall. First scrum of the evening, and we played almost 8 minutes. Paul Marshall was on the bench the last couple of games, but wasn't required.
Touch.
Got his Irish cap in the Six Nations Championship as a replacement against Italy at the Stadio Olimpico in Rome.
Wait, hang a sec.
Bit of nonsense on the far side, on the Ulster tight head side, with Ricky Lutton up against Aaron Kindly.
Nice lot.
Ricky Lutton, this is his first starting game at Ravenhill. Started against Leinster a couple of weeks ago at the RDS and did well, didn't he?
Yeah, very impressive, coming in cold, not having spent a lot of time at tight head, but he'll certainly be very happy with his day's work, and Ulster will be looking for more of the same tonight.
John Afoe back in New Zealand and is expected to be back for the game next week. Marshall takes it quickly and away he goes. This is typical Marshall. Well, that's not a good pass at all. Cave had to stretch and very little in the way of options.
He's inside.
Plenty of time for Pretty though. Took it inside his 22 and he's found a pretty decent touch. Stuart Olding has thought about taking it quickly and has changed his mind.
And Ulster will want their line out to function well tonight. It's that primary set-piece possession that goes so much to dictating how much time you have with ball in hand, and it's been a huge source of pride for Ulster in preceding seasons. Hasn't functioned as well as they would have liked this season. They'll look for that source of possession tonight.
Again, Ulster have shortened the line out to 5 men. Toohey did a bit of a dummy leap there. Great take by Dyack. Marshall, that's a better pass. Pienaar Much more aggressive stuff now. Was there a bit of blocking in the middle? Referee's happy enough that Ulster were legal, and they get the penalty. Again, Marshall does a little quick tap, gets it away to Henderson, who makes decent ground, tries to set it up. Marshall is there. Poor pass again. Rory Best tidies. Marshall, Pienaar, into Tui. Big gap for Dan Tui. Hopping a skip from the big second row. Good defending by the Dragons.
Ball is out.
Ball is out. Marshall couldn't control. And the Dragons have managed to turn that one over, and Olding screaming for men to come round and help on the far side. That's gone to Pienaar. He's got Gilroy with him. This could be interesting. Here's Gilroy. Held on to by Sidoli. Marshall, Pienaar. Bit more like it, Olding. Managed to get it away. Ball has gone loose. Referee's playing advantage to the Dragons for an Ulster knock forward. And the advantage has come. So
Forward of
nervous
White.
stuff by Ulster, it seems.
Okay.
Yeah, looks like plenty of wit going to be put on the game. It's great conditions to play ball in hand rugby, and a couple of turnovers there. Paul Marshall, that trademark quick tap, always makes ground. It was Dan Tui who took an excellent line to create that break, and then a wonderful tackle coming in to deny Ulster any sort of momentum.
It was Will Harries, the 7 specialist, and full Welsh international, who put the tackle in on Dan Tui, and Ulster maybe a little bit fortunate to get away with that. And they've got Ian Henderson down injured. And there's a bit of a problem with the Dragons' tight head Nathan Buck, who's the heaviest man in the park, pushing 21 stones, which is even heavier than Nick Williams. Well, that's not a good sight at all.
No, it's a knock on White. Black scrum.
Ian Henderson, I think, just explaining what exactly has happened to him. I hope, Ryan, this is not serious, because with Johan Muller injured, you know, it was a big call to put Henderson up into the second row, where he's fairly happy, but we don't want him injured.
Oh, he fights so hard for every last centimetre in the contact area that sometimes he's compromised, dragging 2 or 3 players with him, but he looks to be up on his feet and functioning now.
Yeah, he's just doing a little bit of a stretch there, and it looks a bit ginger, but he doesn't look too bad, and he maybe just tried to work this one off in this scrummage, which is going to be a Dragons put in. Well, a lovely evening here at Ravenhill. Just one more game to come at Ravenhill, the last game of the season in a few weeks' time against the Cardiff Blues. Before that, a trip next week to the sports ground to play
Mark
Connacht.
is there. I made a clear pre-match. Find your mark and stay to it, okay? So there's the mark. So you stay there.
Tom Court on the Ulster loosehead side of the scrummage. One of the most experienced players in the side with 122 Ulster appearances.
Touch! Set!
Solid enough looking Dragons scrum. Fallatai caught on the narrow side by Marshall, and then by Robbie Dyack, and Ulster get the penalty.
Black hand in the scrum.
Now the Dragons under a wee bit of pressure, and they put a hand in the scrum, which of course is illegal. I think the attention about that was drawn to the referee by his assistant on the far side. And this is Pienaar. Gave it a nice little clip. Well, Ulster's best attacking position, Ryan, and we played nearly 12 minutes.
Yeah, they'll be looking forward to spending some time as we see a replay of that scrum. Bouncing out the back. Excellent work from Paul Marshall, harrowing Falatau at the back, and Robbie Dyack getting involved, and Ulster earning that penalty. Good platform now to launch an attack.
Full line out. Great take by Robbie Dyack. Has had a great season. Marshall. Pienaar does a little dummy. Cave took it well. There was a half sniff of an intercept there, but Cave did really well to catch, and Ulster have taken it on. That's the Dragons 22. Ulster have got to cross it. Ricky Lutton
6 out.
didn't make much ground, but he's left the ball behind him.
No, hands are on.
Taken on by Tui. Best doing a little bit of helping there. Marshall. And the Dragons have got the penalty.
Surrendered, gone to deck, man on his feet.
They need to protect that ball
No
at the
tackle,
back
9 to
at
surrender
ruck
to
time.
deck, man on
Quality
his
of
feet.
possession. There was players coming through, counter-rucking, disrupting that presentation of the ball to Paul Marshall, and He'll need to have a stern word to his forwards to say that he expects better protection at the back of that ruck.
Yeah, it's tough enough being the smallest man in the park, but when you've got 18 and 19 stoners descending upon you. Mark Anscombe in the middle of the picture, on his right, Johnny Bell. Nothing much to enthuse about so far, other than the early Dragons penalty miss taken by Sidoli, not straight. Ulster will have the option of the line out or the put into the scrummage, and I'm pretty sure they'll take the scrummage. Leighton Hodges didn't blow his whistle terribly loudly, so they played on for a wee while, and it's going to be Ulster's scrum.
They didn't compete because they couldn't.
Well, nearly 14 minutes gone and still no score.
So not straight, you got the option, scrum.
Stuart Olding down in the middle of the park. I wonder whether there was a bit of afters there or not, but he seemed to receive a fairly hefty tackle. Maybe he's just winded. I hope it's just that, but they're looking straight at his right leg.
Yeah. If it is, it's marginal,
I think that's the technically correct term, Jim. Just winded there, I think. Receiving some attention. Probably just need a minute to gather himself before he resumes his position at 12.
I think I get your drift. Well, Rory Best having a word. That was, well, it wasn't too far away from being straight. Rob Sidoli took it. What happened to Olding there? Ooh, I think he descended upon an opponent's knee. I think ouch is maybe the appropriate word. Well, all the pressure on this Ulster side, because they really have to win this game to certainly at the very least stay in second place in the league. Glad to say Stuart Olding has got his composure back.
Time back on. Not straight, scrum. White ball.
Ulster scrummage. None the worse for wear. Little rueful smile.
Crouch! Touch! Set!
Ulster fans starting to get behind their team.
Stay.
Good Ulster scrum. Marshall, Pienaar. That's not a bad kick for Tommy Bowe. And had he been about 3 feet taller, he might have got that, but it's gone straight into touch. But Ulster, although they've lost possession, they haven't lost too much in the way of yardage.
Straight out, yeah?
Be desperate now, Tommy Bowe. Really did impress when he came on last week at Twickenham against the Saracens.
Yeah, I can hear you, Peter.
Yeah, for someone who's been out for such a long time with what was a serious injury, to slot straight back in and show that level of performance was mentally very impressive.
Sam Parry playing his 22nd league game. Better throw, well stolen by Ulster. Well read. Robbie Dyack gets it away to Henderson. Henderson has a cut himself, gets away from one tackle and a second. Bowe came up on his outside like a steam train. Marshall, Robbie Dyack thought about a little offload, bit of obstruction there on Tui. Marshall, Pienaar, Olding, nice cut-out pass. Here's Gilroy off the side of the foot. That mightn't work out too badly. Pretty goes back, and that's going to be a 22 dropout. Well, the most encouraging piece of play we've seen so far.
Yeah, good execution there. The line-out steal, that's functioned very well for Ulster so far in this match, and Henderson showing again his just ability to break tackles, get Ulster over the advantage line. There's the quality of possession. That creates the little overlap, some space in the wider channel, and a good call to kick that one through. Unfortunately, Ulster not able to get to it in time.
Yeah, Pretty got back, pretty sharpish. Dan Evans just making sure that his forwards are behind him. Had a wee glance to his right-hand side. Gilroy says, I'm going to put it up. We need someone to chase it. And it's Nelson doing the chasing, and Nelson's done well. And then he knocked it forward. The referee might well have said just off black there, but it's gone back into a Dragon's hand, and they've set it up. Coombs, the skipper. Nelson slows him down. Jonathan Evans. That's all over the place. Referee is called for an advantage to Ulster. Pienaar. Tommy Bowe. Wide open spaces.
Release! Stay out.
Bowe gets the ball away.
Advantage over!
Robbie Dyack inside to Henderson.
It's a tackle!
It's a mobile big fella. Marshall. Nick Williams. Collision time. Marshall again. Well positioned by Pretty.
Black! 9.
Touch.
Play on.
Dyak takes it quickly. Pienaar has a glance.
White 1.
That's an enormous kick by Pienaar.
9.
What's it going to do? It's going to bounce into touch. A wee bit more confidence coming from this Ulster side now.
Yeah, good tempo developing in their attack play, but still cognizant of the space in behind. When the option's been there to kick into open space and establish territory, they've taken it in the opening stages of this game.
Injury there to one of the Dragons players. Well, Nelson just simply stood his ground. And this is Williams. First time we've really seen him put in a little bit of muscle. And look at Pienaar looking for options, looking for space, taking the right option and finding lots and lots of space.
It's clear from Ulster that they're looking to play this game inside the Dragons' territory. More often than not, they've kicked for that space. They're going to pressurise opposition line out. They've already succeeded in stealing one, and clear tactics from Ulster.
Still a bit of a stoppage. Rory Best will just pull his troops in, I'm sure, just have a little word with him. He always enjoyed captaining Ulster, and the man was injured is the youngster Jack Dixon, a pretty mature looking teenager. Well, now that is a very interesting scoreline. If it stays like that, Ulster will be delighted. Scarlets really at this stage doing Ulster a considerable favour. I think it might well have been Pat Leach who's injured, so apologies for that. Rob Sidoli takes it forward. Great veteran, got his first international cap 11 years ago. Tom Court has to retreat. Well, nudging forward, but they've got to do something with the ball. Back to Jonathan Evans, not quite yet. They're still moving forward. Faletau gets in there. Jonathan Evans gets away from a would-be Ulster tackler, and that's going to drift into touch on the full, and that's going to give Ulster the line-out ball. I wonder has that scoreline permeated its way through to the men in white down in that park. Somehow I doubt it.
The management may be keeping an eye on it, but I think they'll very much be looking at their own performance, analysing it. It's been a fairly even contest till now. Ulster starting probably to nudge the statistics in their favour in terms of possession and certainly territory.
Great take by Henderson. Paul Marshall. Olding. Not afraid to be physical. Marshall. Good option. Here comes Gilroy. Great turn of pace by Gilroy. Back to Marshall. Couldn't get it inside to McComish. Taken on by Nathan Buck, who's down by Tom Court. Pretty gets it away. Evans, loads of room. What a lovely strike. Wonderful striker of a ball. I remember him playing full back for the Scarlets, and of course he's played full back for the Dragons, and he's kicked the side out of trouble more often than not.
You'd have to think on balance. The Dragons would have taken a 0-0 scoreline with close to 20 minutes gone in this match. Have applied themselves very well. Ulster have gone through some phases at times. They've looked very positive, but unable to get that scoreboard ticking over just yet.
Don't keep in, stay with your front man.
Well, again for Ulster, a little bit of fine-tuning is required, and if they get that fine-tuning right, they could go on to win this game. We're now into the second quarter. Still no score. Well taken by Tui at the line-out. Dragons putting all sorts of pressure though on Ulster.
Use it! Back foot, back foot.
Referee calling for Ulster to use it. Paul Marshall kicks. Bo taps. Offside. Marshall gets away. Gets to the cave. Manages to hang on to it. Could do with a little bit of support. Marshall. Pienaar at 10. Stuart Olding. Clever by Olding. Wonderful stuff by Olding. And it was forward. Well, I'll tell you something. Stuart Olding is having a terrific first senior season with Ulster. Came late into the side, and he's played quite a few games. One at number 10 and mostly at 12, and he's done really well.
Yeah, he's got excellent footballing ability, and he combines that with very decisive step off both feet, and that causes plenty of headaches for the defence. Just holding it up, and then the offload, marginal call there going against Ulster. You feel they'll be happy if this game loosens up a bit with the pace they've got out wide, with the likes of Gilroy and Nelson and Bowe. You feel that the points are going to come at some stage.
Well, that was just forward. Just.
Right, here's the mark. Sit up to the left of the
Scrum
mark.
to
You
the
sit up to the left of the
Dragons.
mark.
Rory Best in the middle of the Ulster front row, now the most capped hooker in Irish rugby history. Still a lot of miles on that clock, I'm pretty sure. Good scrum by Ulster. Will Harries, the 7 specialist, gets in. Evans nearly got it away, did get it away. Not the greatest pass in the world. Out wide to Ross Wardle. Another youngster. Very young Dragon side. They've made 1 or 2 significant signings for next season. Mike McCormick does the tackling.
Use it.
Falatau at scrum half.
Carefully.
Evans. That looked forward. Ulster crowd don't tend to let officials away with an awful lot here at Ravenhill, do they?
It looked fairly blatant from up here, and didn't take too long for the assistant referee, you think, to feed that information back in. Perfect attacking platform for now. Ulster, middle of the park. Didn't help by the fact he was running backwards when he gave that pass, but I think any objective observer would call that one forward.
Yeah, taken on well by Aaron Coundy, the loosehead prop, who ran a good line, but the pass was forward.
Mark is there.
Brad Evans, a couple of caps for Wales when he was playing with the Scarlets.
The temptation has to be for Ulster with that big blind side, the pace of Marshall off the back of that scrum, and Nelson standing at first receiver. Big spaces there if they can engineer a right shoulder.
Good work by Tom Court under a bit of pressure there. Good scrum. Here goes Williams. He's using that blind side. Marshall puts the foot on the gas. He's got Bowe outside him. He gives it to Bowe. Bowe's in. What a homecoming by Tommy Bowe. Welcome back to Ravenhill, Mr. B.
Excellent work. It started at scrum time. That's what created the platform, allowed Williams to get off the back, and then it was that pace that they had in the 3 players out wide. You can see Williams, he draws the first man. It becomes a 3-on-1. Excellent patience by Marshall. Knew that Tommy Bowe was coming up on the outside, and a very flat pass to get it into his hands.
Well, that's what you want from everybody. The break by the number 8, the pass and the finish. That's what wing 3/4 do, and they don't do it any better than Tommy Bowe. By my reckoning, that's his 59th league try, split between Ulster and the Ospreys, so closing in on the half century. But significantly for Ulster, it's put them into the lead. So Ruan Pienaar, who finished off at Twickenham with the conversion of Ian Henderson's late try. Similar angle. Well, he scuffed that a little bit, but it might just carry. Oh, it has carried. Well, the contact was pretty dreadful, but the finish was just about perfect. So 25 minutes gone, and Ulster leading by 7 points to 0.
You felt as the game loosened up that Ulster would be the ones to profit from that, and the points started to come. Williams again drew the man perfectly. Paul Marshall put the pace on, drew the last defender, and copybook execution of that 3-on-1.
It was Ian Henderson who gathered in the restart for Ulster. And the rest of his forwards get in behind him, but they managed to lose it somehow. Taken on by the Dragons skipper Andrew Coombs. Well taken by Sidoli, had to stretch. Gets it to big Pat Leach. And Ulster have stolen this. Here's Gilroy. Little chip by Gilroy. Oh, a little bit of blocking there by Harris. And Gilroy does well. And that's going to give Ulster the line out. It's amazing the confidence that a try can bring to it. Williams not really waiting for that, but he's managed to do okay. It came off his shoulder. Now he's got to get that huge body round, and he has. Pienaar. They miss out Olding. Cave knocked down by the Dragons. McCormick set it away. He's knocked forward, so referee's playing advantage, and Olding is taking full advantage and hurled into touch by Will Harris. And there were several yellow cards issued last weekend during the Heineken Cup for probably less obvious knock forwards. The officials construing them as being deliberate, but probably not in that case.
And the crowd ignited by that try from Ulster, and they'll want those points to flow freely. If they can get 14 points out of the remaining 3 fixtures, that should be enough. Given results elsewhere, they'll be keen to capitalise in conditions like this against a team that's at the lower ends of the table. They'll look for another try before half-time, try and set something up to get more than just the 4 points out of this game.
About 13 minutes or so to the interval, and Ulster having been given a bit of a scare after 2 minutes when Tom Pretty missed with a fairly straightforward penalty attempt, have come back to lead this game. That's a good solid Ulster scrum. Great work on the tight head side by the impressive Ricky Lutton. That's a really good Ulster scrum. Williams controls, picked up and go by Williams, gets away. Marshall looking for a runner in Tui. Lutton in there to help, gets Waters out of the way. Rory Best. Good presentation. Marshall, Pienaar, Swift, Gilroy. Well done by Nelson, but it was a wee bit crowded on the far side. Marshall again, Pienaar. Robbie Dyack, I was going to say Henderson, who often has worn number 6. Penalty.
Straight off.
Off the feet.
Straight off. You.
And Dan Evans has said something to the referee, and Leighton Hodges is not wearing any of that. He told him it was you, and Evans has said something old-fashioned, I think, and he's paid the penalty. And the referee's taken them 10 metres closer to the Ulster line. Silly, silly boy.
Yeah, well, respect for the referee's decision is something rugby players pride themselves on, and making sure that was adhered to there. And Ulster now 3 points, takes them out to 10. Dragons down to 14 men for virtually the remainder of this half. Ulster will look to capitalise.
Well, I'm not altogether sure what Dan Evans said, and maybe we shouldn't hear what he said, but it's given Ulster the extra 10 metres toward the Dragons' post, and it's given Ron Pienaar an easier chance of 3 more points. And the 3 points gratefully received by Ulster and by Rowan Pienaar. They've still 11 minutes to go to the interval, and Ulster leading by 10 points to 0.
You see the stand in the background taking shape. It really is going to be some stadium in around 18 months' time when it's fully complete.
Well, with the news coming through about a week or so ago that Leinster have sold 11,500 season tickets for next year. And the message then to Ulster rugby fans is get your season tickets. Robbie Dyack gets himself caught just inside Ulster's 22. Marshall. Pienaar to relieve. Great covering by Faletau. Into Tom Pretty. Tries to get outside Olding, who's having none of it. Comes to... Came off an Ulster hand, and the referee's playing advantage. And this is Big Pat Leach. Thumping hit by Williams after Marshall had slowed him down. Rob Sadoli, who's captained the Dragons many times, takes it on. This is the youngster Jack Dixon, was 18 just before Christmas. What a great prospect. Will Harries, who's very quick. Ross Wardle on the far side. Harries takes the return pass. Wardle gets in and acts as a flanker. Jonathan Evans told to use it. He does use it. Dragons will want to come bouncing straight back if possible. Dixon again. Good clearing out. Waters thought about the pass, changed his mind. Olding tries to strip the ball. He has stripped the ball. Good work by Tom Court. Olding. Nicely done. Gilroy gets away. Gilroy over the halfway line. He needs a little bit of help. He may not need help. Hand off by Gilroy. 1, 2, 3, 4 Ulster players in there. Away they go on the narrow side. Henderson with the dummy. Back inside. Knock forward. I think it might have come off of black hands as the referee. Taken on by Henderson, who's playing like a Trojan.
Walk forward.
Wow, what a great passage of play, end to end, and Ulster very close to a second try, and the crowd really getting behind their side.
There's some excellent footwork initially from Moulding, and then it's inconceivable how Gilroy found a space between those two players, just evading the grasp and then looking for the options defensively, deciding to pin the ears and getting caught as we see them contesting on the ground. Excellent quality of possession from the recycled ball, and then a knock-on being adjudicated. Ulster still in control of territory and possession.
Bit of a stoppage for a little injury to Darren Waters, the Dragons open side flanker, who's coming. Has missed most of this season through injury, only in the second season with the Dragons, now 27, born in Northampton. Ulster's mascot Sparky, a more than interested spectator.
Well done. Time back on.
So it's going to be an Ulster scrummage. Ball came off one of the Dragons' defenders. There's not a lot of room in the narrow side here, Ryan, is there? But Ulster might try to just create something.
Yeah, patience is required now. They're 10 metres out. They'll look for one of their strike moves, but if the pass isn't on, you retain possession, you recycle the ball, wear the opposition defence down.
Craig Gilroy lurking out on this side of the field all on his own. Nathan Buck just easing the scrummage down. Tom Court happy enough to go down.
Just stay up, just come in a little closer, okay, because we're starting to hinge here.
Referee wants them closer to each other before they actually engage in the scrummage.
No pressure until this ball is in, okay? Can't go beyond the 5. I can't go beyond the 5.
Yeah, there's a couple debating the vagaries of the front row. I'll tell you something, they've been debating it for 100 years and nobody's any the wiser. 7 minutes remaining, Ulster 10-0 up. Well, Paul Marshall is entitled to wait until it's all steady. Nathan Buck complaining to the referee that Tom Court is angling down a little bit. He's having a word with him. What's he saying?
Straight and square, regardless. I want you to stay up, okay? Go.
Seems to be putting the onus on Tom Court to stay up.
Still a white scrum. Just come in a little.
Well, it is the most glorious evening here at Ravenhill. The sun is setting.
Crouch! Touch! Sit!
Marshall has to get it in. That's better.
Ball's out.
There's Marshall. Tries to get it back inside to Williams, and he does really well. And Williams had to get off his knees to take the ball. There's a black hand holding onto that ball, but the referee spotted it. Marshall, Rory Best, goes to ground cleverly. Well, that was out. He needed some more support. Referee saying it's not the black player's fault. Robbie Dyack tries to take it forward. Good, solid defence. Ulster still in the driving seat. Pienaar, Tommy Bowe looking for a second. Gets it to Olding. Olding with Gilroy. Olding has a go. Olding does brilliantly. What a great finish by this talented youngster. Tommy Bowe cut a great angle. He got stopped. Olding kept going for Ulster's second try, and it couldn't have come at a better time in this game.
Enjoying that numerical advantage and putting it to good use, getting into that wider channel with men to spare, and some clever work at the end. Excellent lines run. Pienaar, nice flat pass. Bowe gets in behind the defence. Looked like Olding just held back in the tackle, couldn't be there on the initial support run, but recovered very well to get there and pick that ball up off the ground and go in the corner.
Wow, what a game Stuart Olding is having. What at the end of the season that Stuart Olding is having. And he's taking his chance. And Sparky really ecstatic about that. So a good little passage there by Ulster, and they've taken full advantage of Dan Evans being in the sin bin. Holding with his third league try, and this just his 10th league appearance. Tight angle for Pienaar. Posts have just about disappeared, but I'm sure Ruan Pienaar can see them. Not only can he see them, but I think he's going to bisect them. Oh, terrific kick by Pienaar. Well, what a boost that is to have your goal kicker on song. Missed with the first two at Twickenham a week ago, then got the boots back, and he's been spot on. 4 minutes to the interval, 17-0 to Ulster.
And you contrast this last 15 with the first 20, when the Dragons were really controlling the game, dictating the pace. But as this game's loosened up, Ulster is starting to profit, and 2 tries in the bank, 17-point margin. There's no doubt their thoughts will be turning to how to manufacture a further 2 tries and take maximum points from this encounter.
Well, when you have a fellow like this, a truly world-class player on song, it's such a boost, and everybody involved, from the coach Mark Anscombe all the way through the coaching staff, will be pretty pleased with that. A long way to go, mind you. And when we last heard, the Scarlets were 13-3 up against Glasgow. Now, if the 2 scores stay like that, Ulster will return to the top of the table. Sam Parry for the Dragons. Taken by Coombs. Falatau's in there to add a bit of muscle. Ulster have held it up. The referee seems to be happy with what's going on to the breakdown. It went forward, it stopped, and you heard the referee saying that's 1 stop, Black, so they'll have to use it now. He's told them to use it. Oh, great work in there by Dyack. What great muscularity by the Cape Tonian. Here comes Williams, decides to pass. Pienaar. Nelson. Clever by Nelson. Great piece of acceleration. He's closing pretty down, and he'd have to run over his own line. Well, he's kicked it loosely. McCormick has to give it. He does give it. Pienaar. Not a great pass, but here's Cave. Has to go himself. Cave's going to get Ulster's 3rd. Right on half-time. What a last 15 minutes by this Ulster side. They've really taken this game by the scruff of the neck.
The worst possible clearance option straight into Ulster's hands. All of the Dragons team retreating in an offside position. Referee playing advantage. Very good awareness to get that into the wider channel. Nelson with the clever kick through. That established the field position, but this clearance kick should have just gone out. Excellent harrowing there. And once Darren Cave got in the outside channel, mismatch, clinical execution, 3 tries to Ulster.
Well, even the hard covering and speedy Toby Falatau could do nothing about that. Cave, a lovely little show, got around a front row forward, but he won't care about that. Well, I don't think they can believe it. It was a pretty poor opening 20 by Ulster, but they've more than compensated.
Thanks.
Haven't quite worked out how many points they've scored since Dan Evans, who's about to come back on, has been in the bin, but it's really cost the Dragons. Pienaar. Come in, you rascal. Oh, he's done it again. Still inside the first half by 90 seconds or so. Pienaar's landed yet another kick, and Ulster now leading by 24 points to 0. Look at Cave. Clever little check and all that determination.
Yeah, wonderful outside break. He's got the ability, and then the fend on the way through to ensure he got clear of that flailing defence.
Good call by Tommy Bowe. Away to the excellent Dyack, whose muscularity won the ball at the breakdown, which led to that try. Paul Marshall. Bowe legs it. Evans gets it away. Falatau. He is quick, and he's done well. Sidoli goes in there to make the bridge. Jonathan Evans to Dan Evans. That came off an Ulster hand. Marshall. Not a bad kick. Oh, the touch judge had a little look, and Evans did really well to keep the ball in field. Here's Pretty. Tries to get outside McComish. Nelson waits. Well, that's into no man's land, but Dan Evans, after his 10 minutes in the bin, has covered it nicely. I'm hearing that the Scarlets are leading Glasgow by 16 points to 6 at half-time, and we always thought that Glasgow, having climbed to the top of the table, Ulster probably needed some to do them a favour, so it's drinks on the Scarlets tonight if that stays like that, but it's a long way to go. That seems to be the regulation 40 minutes here at a pulsating first half at Ravenhill, which saw Ulster shake off the rust and the lacklustre. Dan Toohey, another good line-out take. Dan Lydiate, his namesake, just lurking suspiciously offside. Ulster moving forward, and the referee happy with that. Rory Best has it tucked in. Well, Nathan Buck, I think, was coming in from an offside position. Referee wants this to be played. Here's Pienaar into a wee bit of space, maybe just overcooked that, but it mightn't work out badly. And Olding very nearly grabbed that. Referee's playing advantage, and they've kicked it away, and that's going to be half-time, I'm pretty sure. And that is half-time. And having survived an early and unnecessary scare and watched Tom Pretty miss a straightforward penalty attempt, Ulster have bounced back with 3 tries, first from Tommy Bowe, then from Stuart Olding, then from Darren Cave. And Ryan Constable, Mark Anscombe, will be slightly happier.
Very much so. First 20 minutes didn't really get going. Very controlled stuff from the Dragons, but once Ulster got into their stride, once that game broke up and the tempo came into the game, it got a little bit looser, and Ulster have just got so much strike power out wide that they brought that to bear, particularly when the Dragons went down to 14 men. 3 tries in the first half, all on target for Ulster.
Ulster 24, Dragons 0.
Well, Ulster are back at Ravenhill for the first time since the 1st of March, and it's been worth the wait. Tommy Bowe popped up at the first try. Paul Marshall delivered it. Warren Gatland, are you watching? Bowe involved for the second. He set it up, some soft hands, and Stuart Olding, who starred in the first half, went over in the corner. And not to be outdone, his centre partner Darren Cave showed a nice turn of pace through the gap, touchdown in the corner. So it's Ulster 24, Dragons 0. Ryan Pienaar has kicked everything, 3 tries to Dragons none. We'll have some of that, boys. I'll tell you what, it's a chilly old evening, but it's warmed us up that first half.
It has, obviously. The first 20 minutes, Gavin, a bit tentative. Ulster just trying to get to the pace of the game and just absorbing what the Gwent Dragons were throwing at them. But then to come back and play the style of rugby, come back with 3 scores, very good return.
Well, Tommy Bowe is the name we were talking about at the start, and he delivered.
He has, and you know, it's hard to believe that Tommy's been out of the game for so long. He's played 10 minutes of rugby last week. He's come back into the fray here. He looks like he hasn't been away. For me, that just shows a measure of the man and the class that he possesses. You know, great scrum. Nick Williams does exceptionally well. He just stood up the centre, did the work there. That was where the try was created there. But Paul Marshall had a slightly indifferent game thus far. But Tommy Bowe knows where the try line is every time.
Yeah, a great platform there. The Ulster scrum has been very, very solid all evening. And again, to young Marshall there through the gap, and well delivered. Nice stuff pass there to Tommy.
It's been a difficult first half for Paul Marshall. A couple of decisions maybe didn't go his way, but a good call there.
Yeah, he's just trying to force the game a little bit thus far in the game, you know, but Nick Williams done exceptional. Come from a good scrum. Ricky Lutton has had a very good start here. He played exceptionally well against Leinster, against a world-renowned prop in Cian Healy, but he stood up to that measure, and he's come out again tonight to back it up, and I was really interested to see that. So fair play to Richie Lutton, but you know, it's starting to come forward for Ulster now. The things are starting to happen. They've weathered the initial storm, and now they're starting to put things together. They just weren't building the phases in that first half, but it's starting to come.
Well, let's get a quick reaction from the Ulster cap. David Humphreys, Director of Rugby, is pitchside with Nicky Gregg.
Yes, and he came towards us with a beaming smile on his face. David, you'll take that scoreline. What was your take on that first half performance?
I think we're obviously delighted with the scoreline. Probably a little bit of nervousness early on. I think a little bit of anxiety based on last week's result in the first 10-15 minutes. It took us a little bit of a few minutes to get into the game, but I think we showed some intent to play, and I'm rewarded now with 3 tries. So yes, very happy with a couple of tries.
Tommy Bowe scoring and creating a try tonight. Who's writing these scripts?
You know, you talk about someone like Tommy Bowe, you talk about someone like Stephen Ferris. Any team in the world would miss players of that quality. And you know, Tommy showed in the brief glimpse that he came on in 20 minutes last weekend what he can still offer, and tonight another step along that road to recovery, and hopefully, you know, another few games this season. Pro
12, the focus for you now with Europe gone. Is silverware a must this season, David?
I think for a team, when we put ourselves in a position, we go into every year now looking to win silverware. We have a team we believe that can compete in all competitions. Obviously last weekend didn't go quite as well as we would have hoped, but we've still a huge amount to play for this season. I think we've all been around Ulster for many years when at this stage of the season there was nothing to play for, and I think if you'd been around the camp this week, there's a huge determination among the players and the staff to end off what has been a great season so far with something, with a trophy towards the end.
David, thanks very much.
David Humphreys with a wry grin talking about Tommy Bowe, but he's got to be happy with his young players. You mentioned Ricky Lutton, but Stuart Holdings really stood out as well.
Yeah, to me, Stuart's had an excellent performance. Defensive, he's been very, very solid, put in some very, very good hits, but it's his decision making. We were talking about, he reminds us of a young Paddy Wallace. I mean, here, a great support line, took the ball up there from Tommy Bowe. Still needs a good bit of strength to go from the corner. We did mention, he's like a young Paddy Wallace, only maybe a bit more physical than Paddy was.
Not a young Morrisfield.
He's not that good yet.
No, I mean, we don't have to screw our boots on anymore, but he's impressed me this season. He's come in, he's a young guy, and this is what's the exciting part about this whole season for Ulster. We've really discovered some fantastic talent within the squad, within the province and so forth. And Stuart Holding, these are young guys. They just left school, and he's showing potential there, like he's been around the block a few times, and it's just really refreshing to see.
He's confident. He's playing with Peter Nelson, he's playing with a lot of boys that he goes to university with down at Jordanstown, and they're confident guys. He wants to go out and play rugby, and wants to show the best of what they can do and go out and express himself. And I think it's really, really exciting to watch.
And a boost to have Darren Cave outside and so much experience there.
Well, that's it. We forget about it. I was just saying to Morrison at half time, how old is Darren now? I thought he was 23. He says, no, he's about 33. I says, I don't think so, Morris. That's your age. But he's experienced. And you watch Darren Cave. I love to watch Darren Cave play. He carries the ball in two hands. Technically, he does things very, very well. And he's so deceptive. You don't think he's travelling that quick. But he's such a creator of a lot of things that are good about Ulster Rugby as well.
Yeah, and the score came about, and that's an atrocious kick out of touch. But great awareness there. Pinar hits the ball wide. As Andy's saying, Darren, ball in two hands, just to show and go. It gives that indecision to the defence that I'm going to step inside, outside, just showing the ball, and then having the pace that Darren has to go on an outside break.
The pressure that Ulster are starting to get, they're starting to believe in themselves again. We're starting to see some of the rugby we saw in the early part of this season. There's a lot of guys getting a little bit more hunger about it, and it's great to see they've shaken off last week's disappointment and really getting the thing going.
I think as well, they're also getting match fitness. Okay, you can train as much as you want in the gym, but to get game time under the belt as well is massively important.
Okay, well, it's looking good for the Ulster players tonight, the Irish contingent, but it was the Six Nations to forget for the men. But the women delivered a grand slam, and they clinched it with a classic Italian job.
Ireland make their way to the pitch at Calabiagio, just outside Milan, and we are looking forward to a terrific encounter. And it is to the left, and wow, no, it's not. The touch judges were happy. This to give Ireland the lead. And it's there, it's there. Yes, it is. Ireland are the Grand Slam champions. It wasn't pretty, but it was committed and it was courageous, and it is a wonderful day for Irish women's rugby.
And they've been partying ever since. The team are at Ravenhill this evening, and Nicky Gregg has tracked down some of the Ulster contingent.
I feel like we're about to scrum down here, Gavin. Ashley, you got a great reception there from the supporters here at Ravenhill. What's the reaction been like to your Six Nations win over the last few weeks?
We've had a lot of well dones from people we'd never expected from, and getting to come places like this just to walk around and get the support from people who are really into rugby and things has been amazing.
Amy, you're grabbing hold of that trophy very tightly. Are you getting used to life in the spotlight?
Yeah, it's hard to get used to. It's quite shy and retiring myself, so I find it quite uncomfortable, but it's just absolutely fantastic, the support we have, and the main thing is that we can sort of promote numbers and get more girls out playing rugby would be fantastic.
Yes, Stacey Lee, have you noticed an upsurge in the number of people wanting to come along and try it out?
Oh, definitely. I mean, just like from coming from Derry and the club only up and running this last 5 years, more and more girls are more interested, and a lot more girls are coming and asking, I want to try in rugby and give it a go, and it's great to see.
And Nora, we heard this week there were proposals that the Six Nations should be split into 2 tiers. That's been rejected. Is that something you support? What would that have meant for the Ireland team and the women's game?
No, most of us as players and management, we definitely support keeping Six Nations together. It's one of the biggest annual women's competitions in the world, and it's one of the best as well. So to split it up would mean the game might start going backwards. And you can see from what we've achieved by playing against the likes of England and France every year, it's really helped our game. So now that we're keeping it the same, we have a chance to retain the trophy as well, which is what our aim is for next year, I think.
Already started planning for that, guys. Thanks very much. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done to the girls, good to see them here. The profile of the game is up and the standard's up as well, isn't it?
It is. I'm delighted for them, for Amy as well, and the girls, because where they've taken their performances to now, given where they were 5-10 years ago, it's immense for the women's game. And I just hope that there, if you give them the kudos and start getting them to play in pitches like Ravenhill instead of some of those mud baths that they're trying to go out and perform their thing, because they do put a lot of effort into it.
Okay, back to Ulster. It's probably done and dusted at this stage, but it's kick on and get the bonus point and see what they can do ahead of a big end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. We've still got a game to win here. I mean, yes, we've got a good, comfortable lead at the minute, but they've got to go about their business, and that's what it's all about going forward in the rest of the season. It's how we go about our business now, and it's starting to come again. It looked quite a nice finish to the end of that first half there, but I just think it's not done. We've got to go. It's been real rusty. There's been some real patchy moments in that game. So for me, they just need to step on the gas now and be so clinical and just eradicate some of the small errors, because we strive for perfection, and if we want to win silverware, that is a must.
And I think, Gavin, as well, it's regaining the momentum of where we were prior to Christmas time. I mean, a lot of the players are all coming back. They're starting to get themselves fit. And what's good about before Christmas was all the squad players were hungry and wanted to get competition. There's a few players there have their eye on the Lions as well, so they want to put performances in. And that will come as the team put performances in, the selections will come.
But I suppose the Dragons will be in there quite demoralised. It's a case of just hitting them hard early on, I suppose, in the second half. Well,
it's going to be a difficult place to be in their changing room right now, because this is potentially their 4th loss on the trot, and they're going, oh, here we go again sort of scenario, But listen, from an Ulster perspective, who cares? It's all about Ulster here, and you know what? It's a harsh reality, but they've just got to be professional and really come out here and have a double the performance of that first half.
Bonus point definitely on the cards. What do you see happening in the second half?
Yeah, you'd like to think so. I mean, that was a massive 10 minutes having Dan Evans in the build to concede 2 scores. I mean, their coaching staff will not be happy. But again, it's about upping the ante now, getting the scores, getting the momentum going, getting the confidence in the style of rugby that they're trying to play.
I think keeping a clean sheet as well. That's important. Johnny Bell's done some exceptional work with the team in terms of defence, and I'd just like to see them keep that clean sheet, because that's almost as important these days.
And good for this Ulster crowd tonight, given the disappointment of last Saturday in the Heineken.
Yeah, massively. I say Ulster, and speaking to Johan on Monday there, he was saying that they were disappointed for the fact that they went out and didn't perform, for the amount of Ulster support that went over to Twickenham, and as I said, they need to pay these people back.
Okay, the players are on their way out. Ulster are about to appear on the pitch. It's about time we rejoined Ryan and Jim.
Well, Dragons back on the park, as you said, Gavin, and as we mentioned just before half-time at Parky Scarlets, it was the Scarlet 16 and Glasgow 6. If it stays like that, and Ulster keep in pole position here, and Ulster will go back to the top of the table, and they will be very, very determined to start this second half the way they finished the first. Just for the record, 24-0, much appreciated by the Ulster crowd and by Rory Best in his first game as skipper for about 2 years. In fact, the very last game of the season a couple of years ago was the last time he led the side out. Tries by Tommy Bowe, Stuart Olding, Darren Cave, 3 conversions and a penalty by the informed Ruan Pienaar. That put Ulster very much in the driving seat in this game, but there's still 40 minutes of rugby to go, and Ulster will not want to take the foot off the neck of this Dragon side, and it's going to be Ulster playing toward their favourite War Memorial end here at Ravenhill. And it's Ruan Pienaar with 4 kicks from 4 gets the second half underway. Tommy Bowe chases straight away. Well taken in by the Dragons, and that's a good piece of play by Ross Wardle on the left wing. Back to Evans, and when he was off, the Dragons conceded a lot of points, and they've got a replacement on the Dragons, just as you may well have spotted. Stephen Jones, who can play just about anywhere behind the scrum, is on. Ball coming back on the Dragons side.
Taken in. Black 3, hold 6. Nowhere near 3. Okay.
Gathered in by Nelson.
White, keep coming.
Well, that's a tantalising, and that's a clever kick, but it's well taken by the Dragons. Swallowed up by Nick Williams. Dan Evans is ignored. Back to Stephen Jones. Mike McComish almost imposed the charge down. Here's Robbie Dyack.
Keep coming wide.
Not a bad kick from the back row forward. Dan Evans, now he is a very big kicker. That might be a very poor kick though, and it has gone straight into touch, and at the moment it's not Dan Evans' evening.
The challenge for this Ulster side with such a big margin is to keep that focus, to go through the basic skills that got them in the position to score all those points in the first half. Very easy to drift away when you have that big a margin and the game seemingly won. As Andrew Wood said in the studio at half-time, they'll be very keen to keep that nil scoreline and add one further try to get the maximum 5 points.
Rory Best into the full 7-man Ulster line-out. Tui calling the shots. Oh, great take by Dyack. Henderson in behind him. Dragons have gone to ground, legally so, as far as the referee is concerned. Leighton Hodges. Well, Nathan Buck is anything but legal there. Nor indeed is Falatau. They're coming in from all sorts of angles. Bit of a fumble there, not Marshall's fault. Pinar into space, well gathered by Cave, into Olding. Good sidestep by Olding. Ulster not content with a penalty, looking for the 4th bonus point. Try, that's gone wide. Gilroy ran into Darren Cave. Referee, I think, is still playing advantage. I haven't heard him say advantage over. Yes, he has. Taken on by Henderson. Oh, great strength and great support by Rory Best. Good change by Marshall. Pinar has a wee dart himself. Laid back, Ricky Lutton leaves it. Williams takes it on. Sets it up for Rory Best. Says, here you are, as if he's presenting him with a bag of crisps. Oh, great take. Here's Henderson. Judged that pass to perfection. Referee's given the penalty. Again, also looking for more. Marshall taps and goes. And he goes. And he's taken down short court. Athletic dive. Still there for Ulster. Robbie Dyack, ball in hand, swings it away. Pinar, taken well by Nelson. Good sidestep by the fullback. Tackle was by Jonathan Evans. All the pressure coming from Ulster, and all they have to do is be patient. Williams doesn't know the meaning of the word. Nudged forward by Nick Williams, and the referee had played an extra advantage. And it's going to be a Dragon scrum. What a lively start.
Yeah, excellent tempo to the game. We saw it in the latter stages of that first half. When Ulster play with tempo, they've got threats all around the park, and they're just showing that again in these opening stages of the first half. They'd love to get that try nice and early and then just go through and finish this match off.
Sam Parry, the 21-year-old, big hefty hooker, over 17 stones and over 6 feet in height, has got himself injured. I have a funny feeling it might just be one of those diplomatic injuries, just to let his team just settle themselves down. I think Ian Henderson might be leaving the field. In fact, Ian Henderson is leaving the field. That's a bit unfortunate. He did get a bit of a knock in the first half, and we were worried about him. This is Marshall, and I think he was interfered with before he got the 10 metres, and that's why the penalty came. And on the park is Lewis Stevenson, his first game for quite some time. So Ian Henderson leaves the field for Ulster, and Lewis Stevenson, wearing number 19, is coming on. What a good season this young man has had, and is he a name that might be up somebody's sleeve for a trip to Australia this summer, Ryan?
Yeah, might just come a little bit too early in his career at this stage, but certainly with the potential he's shown, and looks comfortable at each level he goes to. In 4 years' time, you'd expect him to be contending for that spot.
Touch, set.
Dragon scrum. just about 6 or 7 metres from their own line. Ulster have stolen that. Here goes Williams. Gets it to Dyack. At this stage, I have a feeling he might just about play Dan Lydiot. Taken on by the other Dan Toohey. Good presentation again. Marshall. Toohey. In fact, it's Dyack who's been just about everywhere. Marshall again. Pienaar. Olding. Put away nicely. Tommy Bowe to Gilroy, who'll be dying for a try. Still there for Ulster. Marshall on the narrow side. Oh, he's done it. Clever stuff. Well, that's a typical Paul Marshall solo effort. Realised the Dragons were just drifting infield and made a spot-on decision in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, very mature display. He's passed when he's needed to. When the option's on to go, he's certainly got the ammunition to do that. Very patient build-up from Ulster. Going wide, testing them in the wider channels, and as the defence was preoccupied, as Marshall arrives there, he has a little look and he spots that gap, and there's no stopping him from that distance. Great vision and excellent pace to finish that off.
Well, it's a lovely piece of passing by Tommy Bowe, and great strength and muscularity by Craig Gilroy to keep the ball in field. And look at this, great vision by Marshall. And he just like a little ferret around the side of that ruck. And that's the bonus point try. So Ulster have got the 5 points in the bag, you would think. Pienaar toward the almost completed stand. And he completes another successful kick. 5 out of 5 for Ruan Pienaar. Ulster passed the 30 mark, 31-0 to Ulster, and only 6 minutes of the second half played. Made it look so easy, didn't he?
Covered that 5 metres very quickly.
Off white.
Nudged forward by Ulster, said the referee. They'll have to come back. Mike McComish legging it down the park. But it was nudged forward by an Ulster hand from the restart kick, and that's probably the first real genuine error that they've probably made for more than half an hour.
It's been an excellent response to what happened last weekend. It has the ability to really affect you mentally, to put a performance in like that on the big stage, and they've had the perfect opportunity against much lesser opposition to put things right, and they're relishing that opportunity, and you feel they're really enjoying tonight.
And Henderson with a woolly hat on and plenty of ice around that right ankle of his. I hope it's nothing more than a bit of a strain. Good solid scrummaging by Ricky Lutton, putting Aaron Cownley under all sorts of pressure. Jonathan Evans to Stephen Jones, who's playing in the number 10 slot, with Dan Evans moving further out. Great bit of tackling by big Lewis Stevenson just on the park for Ulster. Penalty against Ulster.
Never release.
Not releasing the man in the tackle.
Just a bit of patience, okay? Let's see what develops first.
I think it's Will Harris has actually left the field for the Dragons, I'm pretty sure.
Difficult for the Dragons. They're looking at that scoreboard. There's nothing left to play in their season, but personal pride's about all that'll keep their performance at the level it needs to be.
Well, there have been quite a few Dragons fans who have travelled over to enjoy Belfast and Northern Ireland. I'm not sure they're enjoying the rugby that has been served up by their team this evening, or indeed for the best part of the season. And the two sides met earlier in the season at Rodney Parade. It was Dragons 19, Ulster 46. Ulster with 6 tries on a pretty exciting evening. Well taken in by the Dragons and by Rob Sadoli. Good challenging by Lewis Stevenson. And the referee is saying that he's been taken in the air. Popped into touch by Stephen Jones. Lewis Stevenson penalised for making contact while his opposite number was in the air. So great chance now for the Dragons, and a try here with a lot of time to go. Who knows what may happen. Tip back, Rory Best gets it away. Well, gets away with it. Good cleaning out by Stevenson. Marshall. Pienaar. Wonderful strike by Pienaar.
He's very comfortable at 10. Not a position he particularly enjoys playing, but he's done well. Marshall busy as ever around the fringes, and that flat pass that he can zing out has certainly brought the wide men into play.
Well, of his 63 South African caps, he started at number 9 on 37 occasions and started at number 10 on 16 occasions. He's also played on the wing and at fullback and been selected in those positions as well. Good work by the Dragons. Mike McCormick trying to keep on his feet and make it difficult. Here they come, the Dragons. Oh, this is good stuff. Here's Evans. He's got a little bit of room outside him. Ross Wardle into Nelson, slows him up. Good covering by Tommy Bowe. What great muscularity by Tommy Bowe, came right across. And that's going to be an Ulster lineout. Good covering by Tommy Bowe. Had been lurking out in the far wing and came across. Tom Court is going off, and Callum Black is coming on.
You'd expect to see Ulster use their bench. 3 games coming up, very important as they are. Use that squad depth to make sure there's running in all the legs and protect some of their more valuable assets.
Well, Tom Court has started 19 of Ulster's 26 games this season, so he's entitled to be hauled aboard early. Thank you to the Ulster crowd. Rory Best. Wonderful by Tue.
No, one man sack. Away. Use it.
Ulster have set it up for Marshall. A wee bit on the vertical side, but he's found his touch, and that's what matters. 11 minutes into the second half, and this is the man, Paul Marshall, who got the 4th Ulster try to, you would perhaps assume, set up a bonus point win. Sam Parry for the Dragons. Sidoli again. Jonathan Evans. Stephen Jones.
Get off your feet too!
Ran straight into Tommy Bowe. Sidoli. Good defence by Ulster. Darren Cave with a scything tackle. Jonathan Evans. Coombs. Nathan Buck.
7 white!
Dragons not giving things up at all. Toby Faletau, who's had a quiet game, but he bursts away from the first tackle.
It's a tackle!
Still there for the Dragons. Change of direction to Coombs, who has played as a back row forward as well, remember. Mike McCormick has got in the middle of all of that. Jonathan Evans, Stephen Jones, that's nicely done. Thumping tackle by Ulster, and Ulster have hacked it through, and the referee says it was knocked forward by an Ulster hand in the tackle. Close call, that one.
Yeah, I thought Ulster were on their way for another try, but being called
White
back,
12
and
change, please.
the changes are now starting to come from both sides.
White 12.
Stuart Olding is leaving the park. And Michael Allen, I think, is coming on, wearing number 22.
With Wallace and Marshall both out. Wallace for the season, and Marshall we don't know how long for. Olding probably being preserved here, being the only number 12 available to them at present.
I think it's well worth noting that the Irish Rugby Union Professional Association have decided to name their Young Player of the Year award after the late Nevin Spence, whom we miss so much. Here's a little run of the tries. Tommy Bowe set over in the corner, and Tommy Bowe did a little bit of setting up himself, but what a great finish by Stuart Olding. Had to work hard for that, took it very nicely indeed, and Darren Cave said, catch me if you can, and they couldn't catch him, and he could score. And then Marshall, impish as ever, round the narrow side for the 4th and the bonus point try.
Touch! Set!
Better Dragons scrum. Jonathan Evans, Stephen Jones, taken on by big Pat Leach, who's made a lot of ground. This sort of player has to be brought down straight away. Back come the Dragons. Here's Sidoli. Runs into Nick Williams. Referee saying that Ulster have to get away, and Dragons nearly overshooting. Nathan Buck, the impetus has gone a little bit, but the important thing is the possession, and they've still got that. Coombs. Ulster tacklers get away. Here go the Dragons again from a narrow range. Open side flanker Darren Waters couldn't quite find the gap.
Use it!
Referee calls the ball to be used. Sam Parry takes it forward. Still there for the Dragons. There it is. Pick up and drive yet again. And again Ulster hang on and dig in. Good work by Nick Williams. Rolls away, not to give away the penalty. Jonathan Evans gone forward. Played off. Beautiful stuff by Ulster. Here goes Gilroy, gets away. Oh dear, oh dear. Couldn't quite get the pass to Peter Nelson, who did the right thing by looping round, and a wee bit more patience, but you've got to take your chances. And a generous round of applause, not just for that attempted Ulster breakaway round, but I think for some excellent Ulster defence.
Yeah, and at 31-0 up, you can have a few speculative options, but it was Nick Williams who stole the space, got the march on the Dragons ball carrier, and then excellent pressure in defence. Clever little bit of play by Darren Cave, and then an excellent passage there, unfortunately just unable to finish it off. But you can afford those options. You've earned the right to throw the speculative pass when you're up 31-0.
It's been another pretty good day at the coalface in the front row for Ricky Lupton, and that's all reflected on the scoreboard, saying 31-0 to Ulster.
Touch! Set!
Another good Dragon scrum. Play on says the referee. Stephen Jones. Leach. Great tackle by the strong Michael Allen. Jonathan Evans. Stephen Jones. Dan Evans. Taken by Tommy Bowe. McCormick's told to leave it alone. Toby Falatau has had a very quiet game, as indeed is Dan Lydiot. This is Waters, the other flanker. Jack Dixon. Accidentally running into somebody else. I think you may have heard the referee say just an accidental. And that's something called accidental offside, where if you have the ball in possession and you run into one of your own players and the referee deems that you've gained an advantage, then it's a scrum to the opposition.
You can always judge the appetite a team's got by the way they defend when it gets later in the game and they're up by a big margin, and certainly it's still there from Ulster. Great line speed on that occasion to nullify the Dragons' attack.
Well, a little cameo at Twickenham last week at Old Hunting Ground for Tommy Bowe, and he's put in another decent evening's work here, and I think Tommy Bowe is going to see out this game. Needs to get a few more games under his belt. There's maybe one more game to impress a certain Mr. Gatland, whom he knows particularly well.
Yeah. Okay. Black 1 and 3, change please. 1 and 3 for Black, change.
The Dragons look as if they're going to be changing both their prop forwards, which means that Aaron Kindley and Nathan Buck are going off, and Nathan Williams and Dan Way are going to be coming on.
Oh, he's going. Yeah.
Always difficult with this number of substitutions to keep the flow in a game, and Ulster will certainly be hoping that the game continues at the frenetic pace it's been played at. That's where the opportunities have been created in the wider channels.
Back on. It's a scrum, white ball.
Bring back the days, I say, when you weren't allowed to come on the field unless
straight square, wait on the set, okay?
Your team doctor had given the referee a certificate to say that you've been relieved of at least 3 limbs.
Crouch! Second.
So Kennedy and Buck have gone. Nathan Williams and Dan Way have come on for the Dragons. Good Ulster scrummage. That's a very good Ulster scrummage. Terrific work by Ricky Lupton. He's really done an FOA on his opposite number. Nick Williams, and that's going to be a penalty. Well, that's the best Ulster scrum of the evening, particularly when the Dragons have replaced both props.
Yeah, outstanding stuff, and that's created a pressure relieving penalty. So we see the put in and a collective shunt from Ulster, and the Dragons capitulating under the pressure.
Well, for a man who would probably be more known as a loose head prop, Ricky Lupton has done a sterling job on the tight head side.
Yeah, Alan Clark's been doing very good work with the youngsters, and helping them with their technique. And if the appetite's there and the tutelage is there, we're seeing the results of that.
Not allowing himself a smile, Mark Anscombe, but he'll be a lot happier than he was a week ago at Twickenham, or less than a week ago. Johnny Bell likewise, and David Humphreys on the Ulster coach's left-hand side, but a lot of happy, smiling faces here at Ravenhill. Still a long way to go. We're still in the third quarter of this game, and scoreboard has advanced since the half-time. Great take by McComish. Marshall gets it to Cave. Across that 22. Marshall again. Sweet stuff by Ulster. Dan Toohey thought about the little offload. Sensibly held on to it. Marshall.
Ball is out.
A lot of impeding going on at the breakdown. Dak changes the angle.
It's a tackle. Roll away, Black.
Not rolling away.
He couldn't stick in. Couldn't move. For White scrum.
Well, he's given the scrum to Ulster. I thought for a second he was going to penalise one of the Dragons loitering forwards.
White 3,
yeah,
change,
had
please.
they penalised them, they probably would have gone for the same option and taken the scrum. Given how well it's performed, 7-10 metres out, they may well look to dominate and keep that scrum moving forward.
Declan Fitzpatrick has come on for Ricky Lutton, and Ricky Lutton has gone off to a terrific round of applause. But it's always nice to see Declan Fitzpatrick playing, but with Declan in recent years, you never know how many games he's going to last. He's been very, very unfortunate with injury.
Scrum, white ball.
Well, he will be more than happy with himself. Johnny Davis, the Ulster conditioning coach, will be pretty happy with him too. Still probably the fittest man on the planet, Johnny Davis.
Touch! Set!
Marshall has a little glance to see what's available to him. Good Ulster scrum picked up by Williams. Gets it to Marshall, who gets himself scragged. And Ulster have lost 10 metres. The tight forwards have to retreat. Thumping hit by Williams. Referee saying to somebody to get out, number 14, he says. Taken in by the Dragons, and Ulster wasted a seriously good opportunity there.
Yeah, good field position, but things not go according to plan at the back, and driving them backwards, the ball becoming unplayable, and team moving forward, ball off the ground, Dragons' feet.
Well, when these two sides last met, the corresponding fixture in Newport, Ulster got the bonus point and kicked on. Scarlets now leading Glasgow by 29 points to 6, and that is a fantastic scoreline for Ulster, because it now looks as if Ulster, with the bonus point in the bag, will go back to the top of the league, and they put themselves in with a very good chance of a home semi-final.
Okay.
Yeah, and at Christmas time, you weren't just looking at a home semi, you were looking at finishing number one and a home semi, then having control, if you win that match, of where the final is played. And Ulster are now back in the ascendancy. They'll play Connacht, which will be a tough derby game away, and then they've got the home comforts against the Blues, probably knowing exactly what they need to do in that match to find out where they're going to finish in the table.
Well, the great Rob Sidoli has gone off the field. Another Welsh international, Adam Jones, wearing number 19, has come on to play in the second row for the Dragons. Jones won his 2 Welsh caps away back in 2006 when he was with the Scarlets, who have done Ulster a major favour, it would seem, this evening. Well, a good Ulster scrum, great work by Declan Fitzpatrick, picked up by Nick Williams, who just emerged like a mole. Marshall, Pienaar changed his mind. Dragons up very quickly. Now Tommy Bowe. What's he going to do? He's going to have a go. It's all got a little bit slow. Now Marshall needs a wee bit more zip. Dyack puts a bit of zip in. Good presentation. Marshall. Lewis Stevenson. He's made good ground and he's set it up nicely. Illegally though.
Clear release, good.
It's the second time Lewis Stevenson has been paying for something. A little bit of just over enthusiasm perhaps. He certainly had another very good season, Lewis Stevenson, and Sparky always has a good season. The warmest person at Ravenhill. Good clearance kick by Evans into the final quarter of this game. Ulster have pressed and maybe have snatched at things a little bit. That scoreline might have advanced further, but what will please Mark Anscombe, Ryan, I reckon most is not just the 4 bonus point or the 4 tries in the bonus point, but the fact that the Ulster's line hasn't been crossed.
Yeah, defence is vitally important, particularly at the latter stages of competitions. Saracens showed what a weapon it can be in nullifying oppositions, and Ulster have done very well on that front tonight.
Stephen Jones taken on by the Dragons. Jonathan Evans, Adam Jones, the replacement. Good tackle by Michael Allen. Took the bigger man down pretty straightforwardly. Lydiate, who's had a quiet game. Long way off his normal pace. Well taken by Waters. Stephen Jones out to Falatau, who's got men with him. Good work by Dyack and by Darren Cave. Double deed was Mr. Falatau. Dan Way, the replacement prop, or one of the 2 replacement props, and they give away the penalty, and I'm pretty sure it'll be into the corner by Ruan Pienaar. And it was indeed, it wasn't Dan Way, it was the other replacement prop. Nathan Williams went straight off his feet. Well, that is a magnificent kick by Ruan Pienaar. He makes it look so easy. He got the distance, he got the accuracy. Sometimes you have to satisfy one or sacrifice one for the other, but not on this occasion. So Hugh Gustafson, who has spent a lot of his formative years playing as a loose head prop forward, but he's moved into hooker, never really heavy enough for a prop forward, so he's now come on. So it's a completely new Dragons front row. With 18 minutes remaining, and Ulster where they want to be. Taken in at the line out. Ulster trying to get the squeeze on. The referee says that's one little shunt. Any more and you've got to play it. Is there room for another little Marshall sortie on the narrow side? I don't think so. Dragons told to get out of it. Cave with a bit of a dummy. Took a hard hit. Marshall, Pienaar. Looking for Bow. Overcooked it. Loud blast of the referee's whistle. So if whistle's blast as loud as that indicates sometimes there might be a penalty. Dragons have taken it quickly. The referee says no. Bring it back.
I'd be pretty happy that one's coming back, because landed straight in Craig Gilroy's hand and about 50 metres of space in front of him. That would have been a dangerous prospect.
Tommy Bow is leaving the field, and Adam Darcy is coming on. What a round of applause Tommy Bow is getting. Likewise, Adam Darcy. He has been such a favourite here at Ravenhill and rugby grounds all around the world. Adam Darcy, who's been a more than able deputy at fullback and on the wing as well, and he's gone onto the right wing. Dragons get it away. Falatau gets past McComish, but not best. Jonathan Evans. Gustafson. Also give away the penalty.
And you wonder how much longer Rory Best will stay on the field. You'd expect if he's got any sort of injury that he'll be whisked away very quickly. Wearing the captain's armband tonight, but he's a leader by example regardless of whether he's wearing that band.
I think he just got himself winded, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see Rob Herring coming on. There's not a lot of point in having Rory Best stay on longer than he needs to, particularly if he's carrying a little bump or something. It's a difficult season yet again for the Dragons. They issued a statement in the last couple of days saying that they have absolutely no intention of allowing Toby Falatau to lead, but that's what the Scarlet said about George North.
Yeah, in the end, the business case probably too strong to ignore for the Scarlets in terms of the transfer fee and how that could be redistributed amongst the squad.
Tap back on the Ulster side, well taken in by Stevenson, who's got McComish with him. Good work by Adam Jones at the breakdown. Marshall just has a wee fumble. Pienaar knocked forward by the Dragons, taken in by Dyack. Not sure about the kick. Rob Herring, I think, is warming up on the far side, and I expect Rory Best to be going off. But there's time maybe for one more scrum, is there, from Rory
11.
Best?
Black 11. Yeah.
Dragons are replacing Ross Wardle. And Andy Tuolangi is coming on. 14 times by Samoa, one of the Tuolangis. Seem to be millions of them.
He's one of the smaller ones.
There he is. He's going to slot into the inside centre berth, and that probably means that Pat Leach will go out to the left wing. So no decision yet about Rory Best being replaced. And there's a bit of a stoppage. I think there's a slight cut maybe to one of the Dragons players. And it might be Adam Jones, the replacement who's come on, is getting his head sorted out. Well, he will have enjoyed the return to captaincy, Rory Best. They don't actually wear armbands in rugby, but we know what you mean.
Yeah, and I'll be very happy with the way the line-out has functioned as well. Hasn't been the strength of Ulster latterly in this season, but certainly a return to form for that unit, functioning very well tonight, stealing some opposition ball as well.
Yes, with all due respect, though, to the Dragons line, they are not Steve Borthwick and Saracens. Mike McComish has put in another good shift, and there's a nice little reward for being a very good spectator. He's going to have to go off and get that seen to, because they can't do running repairs. And they may well have to bring on Jevon Groves as a temporary replacement. And that's, I think, what's going to be the case. So off goes Adam Jones, the replacement, and Dr. David Irwin will have a look at that, and he'll probably say, no, you'll have to go straight to hospital and not be seen for a month. There's going to be a blood replacement, and Jevon Groves does come on, and he's going to have to slot into the second row. Is this going to be the last set piece for Ulster's Rory Best? And if so, is it going to be a successful set piece? Declan Fitzpatrick now on the near side for Ulster. Good solid engagement by the chunky Ulster tight head. Good squeeze by the Dragons. Marshall. Pienaar. That's for Gilroy. What's that looking like? It's looking, pretty good for the Dragons. Nelson. Good covering tackle by Nelson. Picked up by Tuolangi. Tackle by Michael Allen. Jonathan Evans. Ulster haven't scored for a little while, in fact since the 5th minute of this second half. Back in the Dragons side, seem to be nudged forward. Play on, says Leighton Hodges. Falatau, strong from a standing start, but hustled into touch by Ulster, who I think are going to bring on 2 replacements, but not just yet.
White number 6, change.
Robbie Dyack, who's had a lot of rugby in the last couple of months, is leaving the field, and Rob Herring is coming on, so it's going to be Ali Birch coming on, which means Mike McComish will probably go to blindside. Ali Birch is on, and Rob Herring is coming on, and Rory Best is getting a thoroughly deserved round of applause, and he reciprocates. They're one of the greats, Rory Best. Back on the Dragons side, Gustafsson. Falatau gets away from Nick Williams. He's starting to tire a little bit. It's been a long evening for him. Coombs, the Dragons skipper. Jonathan Evans, Stephen Jones, Tuolangi couldn't make up his mind, but he's taken it well. Good support from Darren Waters, Jonathan Evans, Falatau. Nathan Williams who took it on. If Ulster turned that one over, not quite. Jonathan Evans. Dan Evans into a wee bit of space. That's bounced kindly enough for Peter Nelson. Can he find a bit of a gap? He can, you know. So he had Dan Tui outside him and sensibly held on. Pienaar.
White, 7.
Leisurely swing of the leg. Evans has dropped back.
Leave him go! Keep coming
Pienaar's
back.
underneath it.
Good.
Knocked it backward. Play on, says the referee. Had a look at his touch, judge. Peter Nelson gets across the halfway line. There's a Dragon down injured. Marshall, Pienaar, Stevenson in his way. Where's that going to go? Well, that's a clever kick. It's forcing the Dragons to play it. That's a good touch. Adam Darcy, Paul Marshall, Peter Nelson, Craig Gilroy. Tries to get outside Tuolangi, and he does. Great pace by Gilroy. He, like Tommy Bowe, is a serious Ravenhill crowd pleaser. The tackle looked a bit on the high side. I don't know whether it's cardable or not. Marshall has taken it quickly. Well, they just need to take their time a little bit, Ulster. Patience is the watchword. And they've made a mess of that. That really was a try-scoring chance, and they're far better sometimes just setting themselves down. But look at Gilroy, what an angle. That was a little bit on the high side. I don't think it was anything malicious in it, but it was the replacement. Stephen Jones went high. Great pace by Craig Gilroy on the outside.
Excellent work, throwing the dummies as he went, and then pinning the ears back, trying to get around on the outside. The tackle just slipping up high. A number of players down with cramps just shows the pace of this game.
22.
Well, I'm not sure where that's going to. I think the City Airport, the George Best City Airport, to be nobody leaving Ravenhill, I can tell you. Still about 12 minutes remaining, and Craig Gilroy, it's a wee while since he scored for Ulster. He's had a fantastic first international season, starting with a try-scoring debut against Argentina in Dublin way back in November, and then playing in 3 out of 5 games in the Six Nations, missing another couple because of injury. But he's really had a terrific season.
And the captain for Dragons now, please, because the captain's getting off.
It's Andrew Coombs is going to be leaving the field, and with Adam Jones off, the Dragons don't have an awful lot of people to bring on.
White 15.
I think they've got all their forwards on at the moment.
Yeah, and captain for the Dragons.
Peter Nelson has left the field, and Niall O'Connor has come on.
Yeah, that means Adam Darcy to full back, and Paul Marshall showing his versatility and slotting onto the wing.
Black number 7. Black number 7 change. Wait, yeah, but the bloods come back on for that.
Darren Waters is going to have to go off the field, because Adam Jones, I think, who came on after he's got his head bandaged. So the Dragons are going to have to lose somebody. That's all a little bit confusing.
Yeah, okay.
The game becoming very disjointed with the number of substitutions on both sides. That flow that Ulster are in disrupted, and people hanging around to try and see another try or two. But it was Ulster who got those tries nice and early in the bank. Victory assured, 5 points.
So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4's gone off.
Well, Darren Waters is staying on, because I thought that Jevon Groves was going to come back on as a replacement, but he's not coming on. So Leighton Hodges is doing some sums,
It's a knock on White.
and they've confused me, I have to say. When it comes to counting above 10, I tend to take off my shoes and socks. Anyway, we're back on again. Still about 11 minutes to go. Ulster leading by 31 points to 0.
Touch. Set.
Dragons scrum just inside their own 22. Pienaar does a bit of shoving because he was obstructed there. That's good work by Pienaar at the breakdown, and a good Ulster scrummage. Now, can they capitalise from here? All they have to do is just keep things nice and steady. But the Dragons have regrouped and regained possession. Oh, this is interesting. Jones, Dan Evans. What a big tackle that was, and that seemed to be nudged forward by Jack Dixon, who's really struggling with an injury, but the Dragons have no one else to bring on apart from the replacement scrum half. Adam Jones, Tuolangi. Enterprising stuff. This is Waters. Leach got it away. This is good stuff by Faletau. Great pace by Faletau. Good covering by Ali Birch. Here come the Dragons. Tuolangi looking for the last try. They're going to get it. Are they? Yes, they are. Terrific finish by Tom Priddy. Well, they've kept it going, and the Dragons' pride has seen them through a very difficult evening. And Tom Priddy has got their first try, and they get a pretty decent round of applause from the Ulster crowd.
They're showing plenty of adventure, running out of their own territory, recycling that ball, using all the width available to them. And Toby Faletau, who hasn't stopped trying all night, the architect of that one, and a very good finish. And due reward for that dominance they showed in the first 20 minutes that never really materialised on the scoreboard. And it's nice, clever interchange, support coming from depth, running onto the ball, and very good finish.
Yeah, Ulster just grabbing at jerseys rather than grabbing at legs, but I think Ulster could be forgiven after the well, the hour or so, the hour or more that they've actually put in. Pretty himself with the conversion attempt. In fact, it's not. It's Stephen Jones with the conversion attempt. Pretty was the man who missed with the early penalty. There's half of the new Aquinas stand. Jones, and he's fared no better than his colleague. So it's Ulster with 31 points, the Dragons with 5. 4 tries to 1. The bonus point, it would seem, in the bag for Ulster. Well, it is in the bag for Ulster, and the victory just about secured.
Yeah, a lot of the sting gone out of the game now. It's a bit of going through the motions, getting some running in the legs. Can try a few more speculative options from an Ulster perspective, and Dragons throwing everything they've got at the last few minutes.
Niall O'Connor with the restart kick into Faletau, who's come back into the game after a pretty quiet spell. Stephen Jones, Dan Evans from fullback to Alangi, runs into Michael Allen. Bit of a mismatch, but Allen is so determined. He's held on to the big Samoan. Dan Lydiot, Jonathan Evans, Stephen Jones. Oh, that's a nice bounce. Jevon Groves got it again. How did Faletau get out there? He really is so coming into his own in the end of this game. That's been spilled. Gathered in by Ali Birch. Nicely laid back. Pinar at scrum half. Good footwork by Callum Black to get away from 2 tacklers. Pinar, Niall O'Connor throws it up in the air, then swings the foot at it. Well taken by Dan Evans. It's been an interesting last few minutes. Tuolangi decides to kick. Good covering by Niall O'Connor. Needed to give that a wee bit more length. Stephen Jones. Tom Priddy. Into Mike McComish. Dragons keeping the ball at this stage.
Use it!
But 8 minutes remaining. Use it, said the referee, and the Dragons have to use it, and they do. They pick up and drive. Taken on by Jevon Groves. Evans to the replacement. Ball's gone a bit loose. In goes Marshall. Couldn't quite get the control, but he's very alert.
A lively character, doesn't matter what positions he's playing in. He's got that predatory instinct to pounce and the pace to generally finish it off.
Well, they're going to sing their team home. And if things have gone according to plan at Parky Scarlets, this bonus point victory tonight means that Ulster will go back to the top of the table, a position they had for the best part of the season. Jonathan Evans has been lively. Little chip, Paul Marshall, taken by Adam Darcy. He won't mind running. Has a little show. Good work. Oh, I think if he kept going himself, he might just have reached the line, but it's been given away to the Dragons. And they'll try to run it, I'm sure, from right to their goal line. What a big tackle that was by the big man, Nick Williams. Evans gets it away. Jonathan Evans to Dan Evans, and Dan Evans finds Paul Marshall. Thought about the little kick. Here's McComish. Ali Birch is outside him. It's good work by McComish. Good pace by the flanker, who played his early school rugby as a number 10. Here is Pinar. Well, I don't know what Niall O'Connor was doing there. There was no need to do that. Unfortunately for Ulster, it was knocked forward by the Dragons.
A good defence by pretty there.
Black 12.
Running out, seeing the overlap and nullifying that, trying to pluck it out of the air.
One of Dragons are making the very last replacement. Wayne Evans is coming off, and off goes Jack Dixon, who's really been struggling. This is the run by Adam Darcy. He was been well shadowed, mind you. He had a couple of men outside him, but they were both forwards. And there was that speculative pass by Niall O'Connor, which might well have been might well have yielded an intercept try. Good work by Craig Gilroy.
A lot of injuries in the latter stages of the second half. Stop-start nature not helping the fluidity of Ulster's attack.
Time's back on now, lads, okay?
So Dixon has gone off. Wayne Evans has come on. So we've got Jonathan Evans, we've got Dan Evans, we've got Wayne Evans. Scrum to the Dragons. Just over 5 minutes remaining. Game has gone a little bit on the flat side, but after Paul Marshall's bonus point securing try 4 minutes into the second half, it was Ulster's game. Referee will ask them to scrum again. 2 new front rows. Or 14 replacements used here this evening. 18 replacements, I should say.
Yeah, just come in a little on this side, okay? Otherwise you're both going to hinge in.
2 more league games for Ulster. Next week away to Connacht at the Sports Ground in Galway, and then a fortnight after that, having missed out on the Heineken Cup semi-finals, it's here against the Cardiff Blues in the last game of the season. Well, in terms of the league anyway. Free kick against the Dragons for early engagement. Ulster can take the tap kick, or they can take the scrum again, and they're going to take the scrum again, I think. Good decision, Ryan?
Yeah, holds a lot of the Dragons in defensively. They know where they're going to be. Opportunity to use a strike move. Nick Williams off the backs proved fairly potent tonight. You can see Craig Gilroy lurking just in behind Niall O'Connor. Obviously a set move call.
Ruan Pienaar, who has kicked quite splendidly. 5 from 5. 4 conversions and a penalty. Better Ulster scrum. Nick Williams picks up. Here goes Pienaar. Back inside to Gilroy. Gilroy gets away from 1. Runs into some heavy traffic. Pienaar again. Stevenson. Back as 2. He took that a little bit on the static side, but he's made good ground. Pienaar. O'Connor. Cave. Was that knocked forward? It was by Adam Darcy. And just the pressure from the Dragons' defence forcing Ulster into throwing rather wayward passes when another try was probably there for the taking.
Just watch the height on that side there.
You just see Pienaar there from Gilroy setting up field position for the break. Tui, who's carried ball well all night, getting over the advantage line, and then came the pressure. Second man play, but very good reading of that defensively from the Dragons, and putting Darren Cave under a lot of pressure as he received that ball.
Well, there wasn't a lot that Darren Cave could do, and he did extremely well even to get the ball out of trouble. 3 minutes remaining. 4 tries to 1 in Ulster's favour. 31-5 to the side about to return to the top of the Pro 12 league. Good Ulster scrum, and the Dragons put in. In goes Pienaar. Good support play from Ali Birch as well. Ulster told to get away from it by the referee, and the Dragons told to use it. Evans. Stephen Jones. Good Ulster tackling. Ball has gone loose. Michael Allen has won it, I think, on the ground for Ulster. Great work by the replacement. Callum Black, Niall O'Connor. Good thrust by the replacement outside half. Ulster just a couple of metres away. It's very close. Looking for another try. Pienaar. Good work by Ali Birch. Rob Herring in as well. Pienaar has a go on the narrow side. Good transfer. Back inside to Darcy. He's very close. Again, the Dragons have to get away. This is Dan Tui. Good work by Rob Herring. Ulster have to use it. There goes Williams. He's got over, has he? Ball may well have been nudged forward.
And then it's gone forward off white on the ground.
It went back from Nick Williams and then went forward from an Ulster support player. So no try. Nick Williams looking for league try number 7 of the season, and he came very close to it.
Yeah, Nick Williams, 78 minutes in the legs. A fit Nick Williams is vital for Ulster moving forward to compete in the final knockout stages of this competition, and he's certainly got some running in those legs tonight.
Well, Ulster's place in those knockout stages looking much more assured.
We're pushing here, okay?
He's come off a little bit in the third part of this season. Didn't look altogether straight. Away come the Dragons to Olangi. Well tackled by Niall O'Connor, but the Samoans strong enough to make a decent bit of ground. Here they come again. Oh, that's a good run, well taken by Michael Allen. Gathered in by Cave, looking for a second. Here's Michael Allen. He's strong, you know. And as he got over the line, the referee's having a good look. They may have to go upstairs. If he hasn't crossed, it's pretty close. The referee says advantage is over. Pinar gets it to Herring, looking for his second league try. Great Dragons defence. Ulster pressing all the time. Surely they must move this. Dragons penalised, coming in the side. Falatau, lucky he's not carded for that. Should really have been.
In that position on the pitch, and a deliberate foul, it probably warrants it, but with 20 seconds left on the clock, probably not worth the hassle.
Here goes Williams from the short tap. Dragons post in touching distance, and Ulster making it well hard for themselves, and how they have managed to lose the ball. What a clattering tackle by Michael Allen, who's been very aggressive since he came on.